Hi, I'm Noelle Randall, real estate millionaire, mentor, and mom of 5. And in this story, in this video, we are going to share with you the story of NuuRez Incorporated, a real estate crowd-funded company that I started from scratch and used regular investors that were non-accredited to build this whole company. In this video, we're going to share with you and show you the acquisition of our first properties from beginning to end. It's an amazing story, and I'm excited to share this journey with you.
Noelle, yeah, she can fix that. If you gotta get it done, no, you need to do it better. Well, she can fix that, yeah, she can fix that. Investment to get back, trying to get a big stack. She can fix that, let's fix that.
As we stand here today and you see all of the successes of NuuRez Incorporated, it is from hard work, property searches, and careful planning. But it did not all start this way. Many of you know me from my successful YouTube channel, Noelle Randall. However, I did not start off as a success in real estate. I started from my parents' basement. I literally was bankrupt, had multiple foreclosures, and terrible credit. I started investing in real estate in 2002, 2003. I was in my early 20s and I was living in Atlanta. I was young and I was flipping houses on the side with a full-time job. I was enjoying all of what the market was offering in 2003 and 2004, and properties just kept going up and up. I really had no idea what I was doing in real estate. Quite frankly, I was just doing what I saw on television and what my coworkers were doing. And we were making money flipping houses, even with a full-time job. However, when 2008 and the financial crash happened, I ended up losing everything. I ended up back in my parents' basement where I'm from, Bloomfield, Connecticut. It was an awful time. I was married, I had 2 kids, and I was pregnant with my 3rd kid at the time. I felt like a complete loser. But in my parents' basement, I started licking my wounds and tried to decide what it is that I was going to do with my life and how I had failed so miserably in real estate. So while I was in my parents' basement, able to go to school for free, had no bills, I started learning about real estate. I started going to Real Estate Investor Association meetings, I started going to seminars and courses, and I started to learn the correct way to invest in real estate. I even got a real estate coach when I had no money, but it turned my life around. I was able to start wholesaling properties, which means find properties that are in a situation where the person is behind on their payments, they're in bankruptcy, foreclosure, they got relocated, or something like that. In other words, find someone with a property problem, get that property under contract, and then flip that contract to an investor for a fee. My coach taught me this, and that is how I got out of my parents' basement. Once I got out of my parents' basement from wholesaling, then I got back into fixing and flipping the correct way, and then I was able to eventually quit my 6-figure job with my rental properties. I basically just kept growing as I learned. So once I found all of the success and I was able to quit my 6-figure job, I started the YouTube channel and started teaching people real estate, and it just grew and grew. NuuRez Incorporated is basically an invention of my students. I had so many students that wanted to flip houses, they wanted to invest in real estate, but they didn't necessarily have the time to do it. So I created NuuRez Incorporated as a way where almost anyone could invest as little as $500. I would use my team and my expertise, and we would acquire the properties, and then we would split the profits with our investors. So one of the questions I'm asked so often is about Noelle's vision for NuuRez. And I will quickly explain to you my vision for NuuRez Incorporated. It's really based on my years of experience as a real estate investor. Obviously, I started investing in 2002, 2003, and it did not work out for me. I literally had to go back and retrain myself after I lost everything in 2008 and 2009. But I've been very successful in real estate since that point, after I started getting the correct training on how to buy properties at a discount and then how to maximize the profits of them. So NuuRez was really birthed out of the idea that I was able to teach some people that, and many people were able to sign up for my courses and my mentorship. But as things have grown, this became the better opportunity where I could just take my expertise, my team, my years of experience, and we could buy properties and we could still use my expertise, and I could share the profits and the revenues with all of my investors. So let's talk about the birth of NuuRez Incorporated and how I got connected with the original shark, Kevin Harrington, from the hit TV Shark Tank. I had actually applied to be on Shark Tank many of times unsuccessfully. So it was quite an amazing story when I got connected with Kevin Harrington and he decided to endorse NuuRez Incorporated. A friend of a friend that helps me with marketing introduced me to Kevin Harrington, and I pitched the whole idea to him. We sat together and I talked to him and told him what I was trying to do, how I wanted to help my students and other people that were on YouTube and LinkedIn and all of these platforms where I have all of these big followings, how I could start to incorporate these regular people into real estate investing and show them that they can start making money in the process. Well, Kevin told me about something I had never heard of, which was a crowd fund or a Regulation CF. That's the guidelines through the Securities and Exchange Commission. The SEC is considered a Regulation CF. So let me break that down for you. Kevin explained to me that with the help of attorneys and accountants, we could put together a memo that explained exactly what the investment was, it explained what we were doing with the money, and it clearly explained to any even beginner investor how they would get a return on their investment. This was a very simple process because I had been teaching real estate investing for so long and working with newbie investors. So I knew I had to keep it very simple. We had to clearly explain, they put their money in, we had to clearly explain what we were going to do with the money, and then we had to clearly explain how they got their return on their investment. So we put those together in about 3 weeks, and we were able to launch and get our crowdfund approved through the Securities and Exchange Commission. It was amazing. I learned so much. As our idea developed, Kevin and his team, we worked together to create a situation where we were going to launch our crowdfund to the general public. Our motivation for starting the crowdfund and doing NuuRez Incorporated was not only to give people a return on their investment, but to really show them that real estate investing could be for anyone. Real estate and the idea that we had was very profitable. Like I said, I used to do a lot of long-term rentals, meaning I would have rental properties that I would rent out vacant and unfurnished. And I was only making about $300 per property on average. But once we decided to go the short-term rental route, meaning we would furnish and put the properties together for Airbnb and sites like that, we realized that we could make nearly 3 times the profit of a vacant rental property. So the rental model that we were doing with short-term rentals was so much more profitable than the long-term rental model that we could have more profits and share those profits with all of our investors easily. Some of the immediate challenges and hurdles that we had to overcome was not only getting investors to invest, we had to raise the money and start getting people to put the money into the fund. The second thing that we had to overcome was the pandemic. Like I said, we launched our company in February of 2020. We had this big party with Kevin Harrington at his studio in Largo, Florida. There were so many people there and everyone was so excited for the launch of NuuRez Incorporated. Unfortunately, in March of 2020, the whole country shut down and our plans had to get shifted. The country was in a pandemic and no one was leaving their homes. Therefore, the short-term rental model that we have boasted and made all of these big claims about was falling by the wayside. So we had a lot of challenges and hurdles to overcome with NuuRez Incorporated when we first launched, mainly because of the pandemic and because we had unaccredited investors that got really nervous really early. Our goal for NuuRez Incorporated was to raise money and begin acquiring properties immediately to produce cash for the company. But first, I had so many businesses that I was trying to run that I had to make sure that they were all intact. I had to get 𝗂𝗈 coaching run by someone else. I had to make sure the coaches could work without me while I was out busy looking for properties. I had to make sure that we had all of our structures and everything properly together for all of our investors so that they could come not only invest in the properties, but so that they could also enjoy and stay at the properties. All the while, my YouTube channel was exploding. My YouTube channel has grown exponentially from 2020 onwards. It seemed like the more I grew NuuRez Incorporated, the more people were tuning into my YouTube channel to watch me and learn about real estate investing. NuuRez Incorporated became the example of the real estate game that I was teaching on my YouTube. The two entities just combined so well. My YouTube channel, 𝗂𝗈 teaches real estate investing, and NuuRez Incorporated shows people the properties and what we're really doing. It's a wonderful marriage where people can learn about NuuRez or learn about real estate investing. Whichever it is that they choose, they're learning real estate. During 2020, my YouTube channel grew from about 6,500 subscribers to well over 100,000 subscribers in that 1 year. And today, it's nearly 400,000 subscribers. After we got over the initial hurdles of putting the structure of NuuRez together, we had to then tackle getting properties. We needed properties in order to create profits for our investor. But because of the pandemic, we wanted to be very cautious. So we started off, instead of buying a lot of the properties that we had intended on buying, we started leasing properties just because we knew that would be a little bit safer. And if the property was not profitable, we could just break the lease and move on to the next property. Now, we started getting some properties in Clearwater and in Miami, mostly around Florida, because the pandemic taught us that people were still traveling to Florida even when they weren't supposed to be. So we realized that it was one of the first states to open back up, and travelers and business people started traveling to Florida at some good numbers. So we knew that was where we wanted to be. All the while of building NuuRez, I was still working on my Noel Randall YouTube channel. I wanted to make sure that I was still bringing great content and quality information to people so that they could learn real estate investing regardless as to whether they invested in NuuRez Incorporated or not. My goal with NuuRez and my goal in life is to make sure that people are learning and investing in real estate because it changed my life, and I want to make sure people have that same opportunity to change theirs. As we continue to grow NuuRez Incorporated, we continue to monitor the situation. We decided to invest heavily around the Orlando, Florida area. We had decided that the Orlando area was a great area to invest in prior to the pandemic. After the pandemic, we still know that it is a great area to invest in because of Disney World, Universal Studios, SeaWorld, and all of the major attractions around the Orlando area. So as we have started to grow our business, we're monitoring, and we've slowed our pace down a little bit, but we are still heavily focused on this area. We know that this area sees so many tourists and so many travelers. In fact, it's over 70 million prior to the pandemic, and we expect that those numbers, after we see the correction, will be double that in the next 5 to 10 years. So all economic indicators prove to us that the Orlando, Kissimmee area of Florida is an amazing area to invest in, and we're continually grabbing properties in that area because we know that not only do our tourists and our business people enjoy it, our investors love coming to stay at our properties in this area as well. The area is definitely growing. Not only did we face these complications of the lockdown, we also faced many complications where we did not raise as much money as we initially projected. We really had to readjust what we were doing and reproject some of the things that we were going to do, how many employees we were going to have, how many properties we were going to have, and readjust what our profits were going to be and what returns on investments we were going to give to our investors. But we were always optimistic. We were always positive. We knew this would turn around, and this was a great business model that would fare through the weather. After all of this turmoil, we did discover that we could adapt. We learned that we could lease properties in NuuRez's name, even though the business was not 2 years old. Because I had other businesses that were more established and had longer business credit histories, I was still able to get properties that I leased in NuuRez's name so that we did not spend a lot of money getting properties that were able to cash flow. Then we decided we would start to buy properties that we could get at a discount. Again, because we did not raise as much money in the time frame that we thought, we had to readjust our plan for staffing and our plan for property acquisition. As a real estate investor, I had properties that I literally gave to NuuRez Incorporated to build a portfolio so that we could start cash flowing. I had townhouses and things like that in the Orlando area when I used to live in Dallas. I started investing in Dallas very heavily, and I lived there for over 7 years, from 2012 to about 2019. So when I was in Dallas, I started investing in Orlando, Florida, and I had 5 or 6 properties that I was able to give over to NuuRez Incorporated to manage, and so that NuuRez could start seeing some profits really early on in the game. And then opportunity knocked, and we heard about the duplex property. Not only was this a prime luxury property in a resort area, but it also had the element of being a property problem for the builder who was selling it. Because of this, we were able to compound our success with a great price. Plus, me being paid a real estate commission discounted the price even further, and voila, NuuRez had its first property that it owns. I'm going to be showing you our brand new duplex that we are making more than $600 per night on, and it is the first acquisition of my crowdfunded company, NuuRez Incorporated.
Well, she can fix that. Don't worry, she can fix that. Yeah. Gotta get it together, need to put it together. Well, She can fix that, yeah, she can fix that. Need to clear up the clutter, or it's all out of order, well, she can fix that, yeah, she can fix that. If you gotta get it done, or you need to do it better, well, she can fix that, yeah, she can fix that. Investment to get back, trying to get a big stack. She can fix that, let's fix that. No way. She can fix that, let's fix that. Don't worry, she can fix that. Let's fix that. No way. She can fix that. No way.
The next step was to take a blank builder's property and to transform it with NuuRez Incorporated decor, style, and all of the furnishing to match our brand. As you can see with our NuuRez properties, we decided to brand them so that when people came to them, it became a brand. All of our paintings have the NuuRez logo on them. We created signs and things like that within the property to let them know that they are in a NuuRez property. We changed the internet passwords and the code to the Netflix and the Hulus and things like that to say NuuRez so that people knew they were in a NuuRez property and they were getting a 5-star stay. Additionally, with my local contacts for furniture, I had some issues getting furniture during the pandemic, but I also was focused on getting a great deal. We made sure to do our research and we searched high and low for the best deals on mattresses, beds, and even the sofas and everything that you see in our properties. We also decorate our properties with our unique signature look. We make sure they have a certain amount of knickknacks and paintings on the walls. We paint a certain way and we use specific colors that are within our brand. All of it is designed to make sure that we brand our properties and that the visitors of these properties have an amazing time and they remember NuuRez Incorporated.
No way.
And so with all of this said, I am so excited, so thankful, and so appreciative to you, my NuuRez investors, to my fans, my subscribers, and to my team that have helped me build NuuRez Incorporated. It has been an amazing journey and we have triumphed. We've seen some challenges, overcome some hurdles, and even one of the worst economic collapses in our recent history. But we are strong and we are growing. The company has done so much and I am so excited for our future. We have properties, we are profitable, and we are growing every single day. This has been an amazing journey and I want to thank each and every one of you for taking this journey with me. I just want to make sure that you have all of the resources, all of the knowledge, and all of the tools that you need to be successful. This is Noelle with NuuRez Incorporated. To your success.
Trying to get a big stack. She can fix that. Let's fix that.